Welcome back to Good Simple Food. I'm Michael, and today we are going to make Dad's chocolate cookies. And just to let you in on a little secret, I'm Dad. So this is a recipe I came up with when the kids are little. So I'll tell you that story in a minute. Let's get started putting things together, and then when we get close to the end, I'll tell you how this happened, which was completely by accident. So I've got a big mixer here, and I'm using my paddle to make this. Usually mixers come with a whisk, a dough hook, and a paddle. The paddle's the right tool for this. So we're going to start off with, and pardon me if I read from the recipe, I don't make this all the time anymore. So yeah, we're just 1 stick of sweet butter, and it's just softened, and I rushed it just a little bit. I put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds just to soften it up a little more. So we're going to do a stick of butter, and then 1 1/4 cups of sugar. There we go. And we're just going to cream this together to get things started. All right, here we go. So you just want to cream the butter and sugar, get those incorporated into kind of a paste. And then it should only take a minute. Yep, that's coming together nicely. All right. And then we're going to add 3 eggs. I'm just going to kind of drop them in one at a time. You want to make sure they get fully incorporated each time. Yeah, looking good. I just have this on kind of a low speed. That's a 2 or a 3. If you put this on too high a speed, it messes up the texture. So just enough to get it mixed. All right, here's my 3rd egg. It's looking really good. All right, and then it's like that's all incorporated. Teaspoon of vanilla. Gonna get basically all the wet ingredients in here, except for the last one. All right, it's looking good. You just want to make sure after you add each step that it gets fully incorporated in and it starts really making the batter. Now, all right, so I have a 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to stop this so I don't splash flour all over the place. I'm going to add, it's a small amount, so I'll add about half. And then we'll incorporate that. And when that gets incorporated, we'll add the other half. We just don't want big, clumpy, dry spots in it. So if you incorporate it a little bit at a time, it makes a much smoother batter. Okay, that's looking good. Looking good. Okay, that's incorporated. Looking good. Okay. And we're going to add a 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. Let's turn this off again so we don't make stuff fly everywhere. This is starting, you can see the batter coming together. This is starting to look really good. One more. Looking good. Okay, and what I'm going to do here is just scrape down the sides a little bit. Some of that stuff is kind of ridden up through the mixing, so we're just going to scrape down the sides, make sure all that gets incorporated in there. All right. Watch the middle around the paddle. Sometimes it gets up on the ridges and you'll have dry spots. So again, we just want to make sure all this gets incorporated in. We don't have any dry spots in the cookie batter, or cookie dough, I should say. All right, and then we have 3/4 teaspoon of salt and 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder. We'll add that in. All right. And then our last 2 ounces of melted semi-sweet chocolate. So when I make, this is actually a small batch, a single batch of cookies I'm making. When I used to make this at home, I would have to make a triple or a quadruple batch because between the kids and their friends and our neighbors and everybody, these became super popular. So when I made them, if I didn't make enough to share with everybody, people got a little bit offended, like maybe we weren't friends anymore or something. So, but I just made this, I just melted a small amount of chocolate. What I did is I took the chocolate chunks and I just broke them down with a knife and kind of made very small, even pieces, probably the size of chocolate chips roughly. And then I just melted them off in the microwave. You do about 30 seconds at a time. And then mix it up, 30 seconds, mix it up, and it melts down pretty good. You have to be careful in the microwave because if you don't do it slowly and clean off the edges as you go, the edges will kind of burn and you'll get a burnt flavor on your chocolate. My favorite way to do it when I do a bigger batch is just do it on a double boiler. So you get a pot, put some water in it, get the water boiling. I put a glass bowl over the top, put the chocolate in it, and then stir. And you're melting on indirect heat so you don't get any burning. But for a small batch, the microwave works just fine. All right. So batter looks good. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to finish this by hand just to make sure everything's incorporated. This is a very thick dough. So let me get it off here. Don't want to waste any of that goodness. It's like a whole cookie sitting on there. And so let me tell you about how this came about. So when we used to, in the cooler weather, sometimes when it was cold and rainy and the weather was yuck and the kids were small, we'd always find fun games to play around the house and fun things to do. And we always made fun snacks too. So I was trying to come up with I wanted to make a little chocolate cookie to make sandwich cookies with, either put marshmallow cream or frosting or whatever you want in between them. And so I made a recipe and it was meh, I wasn't real happy with it. So I made another recipe and it was meh, wasn't really what I was looking for. So I kind of took my favorite parts of a couple of different recipes and came up with this recipe. All right, so there's our completed dough. It's very sticky. There's the butter and the chocolate and sugar and everything. It's very sticky. So what I'm going to do before we start portioning out cookies and cooking this is I'm going to refrigerate this for like 20 minutes just to let it rest and let it firm up a little bit. It'll be a lot easier to work with. So after I had tried different recipes, I finally came up with my own. And as I was baking them off, I was in a hurry that day. We had to go somewhere. I don't remember where it was, but I would make the cookies, and I use a scooper when I scoop my cookies out. This doesn't have a number on it, but it's 2 or 3 tablespoons worth in the scoop. And so I would scoop them on, and then I would just turn it over and just kind of smush them a little bit to bake the cookies off. Well, I got to the last batch, and I forgot to flatten them out. So I scooped them all on, and I forgot to flatten them out, and I put them in the oven and baked them. So when I pulled them out, I had these little kind of cookie balls. And I went, oh no, I forgot to flatten them. Well, when they cooled, they were the most delicious cookies I ever made. So it completely happened by accident, but this has absolutely become a family favorite and a neighbor favorite and everything else. So, all right, we're going to chill this for about 20 minutes, and then we'll come back and bake some cookies. Make sure your oven is preheated to 350, so when we get back, you'll be ready to go. All right, we let our cookie dough sit in the fridge for about 20 minutes, and it definitely firmed up the way we need it to, so we get nice little even round scoops on the sheet here. So in using my scoop, I always keep a little warm water here, or just regular temperature tap water is fine. It'll keep the dough from clumping up on the scooper. So all we want to do is kind of evenly make sure you get a full scoop. And what I found is 12 to 15. They need to be spaced, but they don't spread out as much as, say, chocolate chip cookies do. There's not quite as much butter in them. So, but chilling it first definitely makes a difference. Yeah, I'm already getting pumped up here. And you want to shake off the excess. You don't want to get water all over your cookies. Just want to keep it. Boom. There. And I'm putting this on parchment paper. You can put them straight on a cookie sheet. Sometimes they burn just a little bit on the bottom because of the sugar and the butter and the cocoa in them. You can spray your pan, but that adds more fat, and sometimes the oil itself puts a flavor on the cookie you don't want. So I like parchment paper because you don't have to, it doesn't add any kind of flavor, and it keeps the cookies from sticking. It's a nice even, it also prevents them from burning. It's a nice even cook on the cookies. Okay, that's sticking just a little bit, so we'll, and I like to use the scooper because putting these out here like this, you can just do them drop style. You can get 2 spoons and just put them on drop style, but I played with this a little bit since I came up with it, and I like the final product better when I do them in the dough ball. I think you get a much more moist cookie. It's almost brownie-like in the center. All right, we're almost there. Like I said, this is a small batch. This probably won't make more than maybe 20 or so cookies. I used to have to make 100 at a time, or I was making enemies for life. All right, we're almost there. Come on. One more little shot of water. And then these do not take long. You'll see the recipe posted in the comments when you view this. I say 12 to 15 minutes. Everybody's oven varies a little bit, and if you don't have a thermometer inside your oven, you don't know if your oven is calibrated exactly. So I would say, the first time you do it, I'm going to do these for 12 minutes, but somewhere between 12 and 15 minutes is what it takes. And then the hard work is now done. So pounding out cookies doesn't take any time at all, 12 minutes at a time. So make sure your oven rack is in the center. And then we are going to set that for 12 minutes. And in 12 minutes, we'll come back and take a look at our finished product. All right, it's been 12 minutes. Yeah, those look perfect. So as I'm cooking, I get my next tray teed up. So this is the end of the first batch. I think it made, what did it make? Made 24 cookies out of this recipe. So you can double, triple, whatever you need if you're making it for a large group. So let me get my next batch in. Boom. All right. So you want to cool these on a cookie rack, but give them about 5 minutes to kind of settle a little bit. They're super, super soft right now. If you start trying to scoop them up, they'll fall apart on you. But give them about 5 minutes and they'll firm up, and you'll be able to transfer them over to a cookie rack and let them cool down for about 20 or 30 minutes, and then you're ready to go. So hope you enjoyed this today. Please subscribe and follow us for more recipes, and I hope you enjoy the cookie recipe.